again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Dwayne Staats. We're at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Rick Mahler getting ready, warming up. Here are the lineups for today's game. DeCenzo in center for the Cubs. Varsho in left. Sandberg at second. Grace at first. Berryhill catching. Law at third. Smith in right. Dunston playing short. And Mike Bilecki, who's won 3, lost 1 with a fine earned run average of 105, will be the pitcher. For the Reds, Sabo at third, Griffey in left, Larkin at short, Davis in center, O'Neill in right, Bensinger at first, Reed the catcher, Harris at second, Rick Mahler, who's won 5 and lost 4, also with a good run average, earned run average 2.87. Fred Bronklander, the plate umpire. Bob Engel at first, Paul Runge at second, Dutch Rennert at third, and here we are with the first pitch of the ball game. Strike call.
Mahler's 5-4, the ERA at 2.87. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts. Last time out, he was shut out by Pittsburgh, and it broke a 4-game win streak.
There's a fastball, a little bit inside. DeCenzo's got 2 hits in the series, 2 out of 10, hitting 156. Curveball low, ball 2, 2 balls and the strike.
Mahler throws a fastball, curveball, slider, and doesn't have much of a change.
Line drive for fair ball into the left field corner. Here goes DeCenzo. Now he goes halfway to second, turns around. Quick recovery by Ken Griffey in left field, holding him to a single. And DeCenzo opened the ball game with a line drive that landed right on the chalk stripe.
The call by Dutch Rennert, and a fine play by Ken Griffey. Newly inserted into left field, trying to get some punch in the order. Griffey, not known for his defense, makes a fine throw to second base, and wisely, DeCenzo holds up. He'd have been a dead duck. Griffey was playing shallow with DeCenzo up, and that enabled him to make the play.
Ken Griffey, the father. Another Ken Griffey is starring for Seattle. That's his son. Here now is Varsho. Throw to first, runner back. DeCenzo. Fine base runner.
He's 2-0 in the stolen base department. Cubs have swiped 49 this year. They've been caught 17 times.
Fastball is in there, a strike call. Roger Roark from Carbon, Kentucky, celebrating his 14th birthday here today.
Rick Mahler 6-6 against the Cubs' lifetime. The whole record compiled while a member of the Atlanta Braves.
And Bilecki is 0-4 against the Reds, and that record was all compiled while he pitched for Pittsburgh.
It's a different Bilecki these days, however.
There's a fastball outside.
Everybody waits for the 2-1 count to hit and run. Let's see if Don pulls a surprise and runs 1-1. The Reds will occasionally pitch out. Let's see if Jeff Reed decides to do that here.
Look out. A ball in the strike. Pitch out. We're thinking along with you. 2 balls and the strike. Now DeCenzo has trouble getting a lead. I noticed last night he doesn't get out to the carpet. There he goes. A high pop foul back out of play. The hit and run was on. Bud Varsho fouled the pitch back. Jeff Reed, formerly lived in Joliet, went to high school at West Township High School in Joliet.
And he's sporting a very swollen and very sore black and blue left eye. That's courtesy of Damon Berryhill, who took a complete follow-through on a swing and whacked him in the side of the head. 2-2
the count. There he goes. There's the pitch. Dow trying to steal. Holy cow. The count goes to 3-2. Boy, I thought he was going to make it for a moment, but he doesn't have a big lead.
That's one of the reasons why he was thrown out, just by an eyelash. Good throw by Jeff Reed. It's right on the money to Larkin.
Boy, I don't know about that call. Now the fly ball is in center field, easy out. Varsho flies out to Eric Davis. Boy, I think he's safe on this play. Look at this. In slow motion. Might have got him as he came down with the ball. Barry Larkin made the tag. So there's 2 out. And here's Sandberg. He's 4 out of 10 in the series, hitting .288. Curve is low and outside.
Naylor was offered more money by the Atlanta Braves, but he couldn't get a guarantee that they wouldn't trade him, so he signed with Cincinnati.
There's a line drive. It's a base hit. Hey, wait a minute now.
O'Neill's in center.
O'Neill is playing center, not Eric Davis. They switched their lineup around. Eric Davis is in right field. O'Neill is playing center. And here's Mark Grace. Over the last 2 years, he's hit .417 against the Reds. Swings, tops the ball. Foul.
But they lose in speed in center field with Paul O'Neill going there. They make up with the fine arm. He's got the best arm by far in the outfield and the most accurate. And they're still trying to protect the hamstring of Eric Davis, who will eventually, when he's 100%, move back into center field.
Will end the inning. 4 out. So we go in the bottom of the first, no score. Hitting .221 for the year. The National League's Rookie of the Year a year ago. No homers, 12 RBIs. First pitch is a strike call.
Very impressive stats when you look at Mike Bilecki and what he's done this year. 3-1, 105 ERA. He's on for his 7th start of the year.
There's a drive coming over far. It is Dwight Smith, and he makes the catch. Dwight Smith took care of Sabo's fly ball. 1 out.
We're at the point now in the season where all the advanced scouts have done their work against various pitchers, and they'll realize with Mike Bilecki that he does throw away quite a bit from the right-hand hitters. So the Reds are going to be looking toward right field, and it's up to Bilecki to establish the inside part of the plate to many of these hitters. You can't allow them to lean over and look for the ball away.
Here's Ken Griffey Sr. He's only 39 years old. His son playing for Seattle as a sensational rookie is 19 years old. What a thrill it must be here for the Griffeys, father and son. Now the pitch, here it is. Strike call. That is true. Here's young Ken Griffey Jr. in his first year. They've already named a candy bar after him. There's a line drive, a base hit. Griffey singles to center.
On 2 occasions this year, Ken Griffey Sr. has flown all the way to Seattle to see his son play. And he said that it's much more of an anxious time for him watching the youngster play than it is when he plays himself.
1 out, 1 on. They're here from the mountains of Clifton Ford, Virginia. John and Laverne Howman cheering for the Cubs. Here's Barry Larkin, fouls the first pitch into the stand. Larkin is 5 out of 8 in this series, hitting .314 for the year. There's a happy youngster with a baseball in his glove.
But a very unhappy young lady who took that ball right off her forehead.
some sadness in life. Here's a pitch high. And the count evened up. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 on.
And Larkin, the only man to twice be named the MVP of the Big Ten while playing at Michigan. He was also All-American his junior year. And what a career he put together as a collegiate star.
Bielecki's pitch. There goes a runner. There's a throw. He is safe at second base. It was a tough pitch for Berryman to handle. His throwdown that was low. Griffey gets his second stolen base of the year.
There's still a little life in the legs of Ken Griffey. Tough play by Sandberg. He puts the tag on him, and I'm not so sure that he wasn't out at second base. You saw Griffey fly by the bag, and it didn't look like any part of him had the bag till he slid by it. Sandberg put the tag on him, but Runge said he was safe.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Griffey a lead. A little bit outside, and Bielecki wanted that pitch. He thought he had the corner. And just posting the change in the Cincinnati lineup with Paul O'Neill playing center and Eric Davis playing right. They flash out on the board. Ball 3. Cub fans, Mark and Kathy Nielsen from Taylorville, Illinois, which is where Pat Perry is from. Boy, that Perry retired 10 men in a row, continuing his amazing relief pitching. There he is right there. Outside. Again, Bielecki thought the pitch was good. So they have 2 men on, and here's Eric Davis. The team's big slugger. Away to a slow start, hitting only .217, but he has 6 homers and 19 RBI.
Well, like he's had his problems with Cincinnati. Harry mentioned the 0-4 record, but his lifetime ERA is .675. So this team has hurt him over the course of his career.
Swung and he missed. They're from Johnson City, Tennessee, Ray and Mary Green. Runners on at first and second. Eric Davis, the hitter. Foul ball back into the stands right below the booth. They're from Paulding, Ohio, the lead. And also fans here from Payne, Ohio, pulling for the Cubs. Birthday greetings to Jack Rosenberg of WGN.
It's a good time to waste a pitch up and into Eric Davis. He will swing through the ball up there.
He swings at it and lifts a high foul ball back. I guess Jack Rosenberg is all of 39 today.
At least.
He's been with the WGN radio and television for many, many years. And a fine man. 0-2 the count. There's a drive. Going foul in the right field corner. Fan reached out, got his hand on the ball.
This is the first time Mike Bielecki has faced the Cincinnati Reds in a Cub uniform. It's the first time he's faced them at all since September of 1986.
The count. Boy, he had a good cut at that fastball. That may not have been as far inside as Bilecki wanted to throw it.
Well, he's so far ahead of him, Harry, at 0-2. What he wants to do is get the ball up and out of the strike zone. He wants to make Davis swing at a bad ball. Maybe he's a little over anxious after spending some time on the disabled list. Anytime a home run hitter sees men on base in a scoring situation, he will expand his strike zone, and Davis has been known to swing at a bad ball, especially up. But he doesn't want to get it letter high. He wants to get it head high and well inside.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 on, 1 out. Mike Bilecki, 29-year-old right-hander. Eric Davis, fine hitter. Bouncing ball. Whoa! No chance at all of the force play. And you know that Eric Davis has a bad leg. I'm amazed Dunson didn't throw the ball to first base.
Well, there's absolutely no chance to get Barry Larkin on that infield chopper. If Sean did have a play at all, it would have been to first. This would have been a very difficult play. Now watch what happens. Somehow Sean just thinks he can make that play at second, but Larkin has arrived at the bag a long time before the ball, and it goes as an infield hit. And now Mike Bilecki is really in trouble.
Now the bases are loaded, and look who's up there, Paul O'Neill. He drove in all 3 runs last night. Fastball outside.
Mike does not have the kind of control today that he's had in previous starts. He's gotten behind some of these hitters. He's got to keep the ball down.
Strike called, a fastball. The Burka and Cornuccio families from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, hoping the Cubs get out of this jam. Bases loaded, 1 out. That evens it up. A ball and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out.
The book on O'Neill is you want to crowd him, all things being equal. He likes to extend his arms, and he likes to hit the ball on the outer half of the plate. Bilecki throws a real good slider low and in. It'd be a good pitch to O'Neill in this situation if it's down and out of the strike zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Infield back. That evens it up 2-2. With a chance to break out in front. That came out. He chased a high fastball. That's 2 gone, and here's Todd Bensinger.
Gets a big man. O'Neill with 33 RBIs decides to expand his strike zone, and he swings at a pitch that he can't handle.
Now the bases are loaded. 2 men are out. Todd Bensinger used to be with the Red Sox, hitting .248. Switch hitter. 1 ball, no strikes. He's 3 out of 7 in this series.
You know, when Mike Bilecki is consistently up and out of the strike zone, that he's battling his rhythm out there on the mound. He does not feel comfortable yet, and hopefully he'll be able to extricate himself from this jam.
There's a strike call. Good fastball over the outside corner. It seems to me he's throwing a lot of fastball.
I think he feels more comfortable with the fastball to the left-hand hitter, Harry. He doesn't want to make a mistake and leave that slider up and on the inner portion to the left-hand hitter.
Now the delivery, here it is. Ball high. 2 balls and a strike. It actually looked like Todd Bensinger was trying to duck under that pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Big pitch coming up. There's a high fly ball, should be caught. DeCenzo, and And we're out of the inning. Bensinger fly to DeCenzo. They leave the bases loaded. At the end of one, no score. Swinging and missing the first pitch. No score. The Reds had the bases loaded with only one out. Didn't score. There's a high pop fly. Larkin going out. Griffey coming in. Larkin makes the catch. Barry Larkin, the fine shortstop. Retires Berryhill. Here's Vance Law. During his lifetime in the National League, Law has always hit very well against Cincinnati. .320 with 4 homers, 26 RBI. He's had 3 out of 8 in this series, raising his average to .208. That may not sound like much, but it's much better than 140. And that's where he had been. So he is starting to hit the ball and starting to drive in some big runs for the Cubs, the way he did last year. There's a strike call.
Mailer started his career back in 1975 in the Brave organization. His finest year came in 1985 when he went 17-13 for the Braves. Started 39 games that year, and that was a league high.
1 out, nobody on. Herb is outside. They're here from Nashville, Tennessee. Pete Pollard and Chris Dickens and a group. He fouls it off. And the count is evened up.
What Mailer has been able to do for the Atlanta Braves and now the Cincinnati Reds is take the ball and go to the mound. In 4 of his last 5 seasons, he's pitched over 200 innings. The only time he missed, he threw 197 in 1987 for the Braves. So he's been durable, and you have to have that in a starting pitcher.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Line foul into the stands. Sean and Shelley Patterson from West Chicago, Illinois, now living in Ohio. And Dean and Jeannie Ramaker from South Chicago Heights are here. 2-2 is the count. Ground ball up the middle, a base hit. Law singles to center. And he keeps up his fine hitting against the Reds.
Fine effort by Barry Larkin. This fastball's away from Law. Larkin diving, but just comes up a little short.
Here's Dwight Smith.
Vance Law, who had a good day yesterday, continues here today as Pete looks on.
1 out, 1 on. Fastball a little bit low. Well, I don't think anybody in baseball has the strength of character of Rose, who could have taken all he's taking and refuses to crack. Here's a pitch low. Network correspondents follow him everywhere he goes. Everybody's waiting for him to make a slip. And I tell you something, they're not going to break Pete Rose. Hopefully, they will not have any evidence. There's a high fly ball. Griffey's there. Makes the catch.
Ask Rick Mailer why he decided to come to Cincinnati and leave Atlanta. He felt that the Atlanta Braves were in a youth movement, a rebuilding program, and he knew that somewhere down the line they would probably trade him long about August or September, going to the youngsters. He said he wanted to be on a contender. He realized that Cincinnati was a team that was very strong, had a chance to win it, and he felt at this point of his career, this is where he felt most comfortable and where he might get in a World Series.
Swings and he fouls it back. Dunston is 1 out of 8 in the series. And with 1 out of 8, He's raised his batting average. That tells you something. There's a ground ball foul.
Not many guys, Harry, are in a position to go 1 for 5 in a ball game and raise that batting average. Unfortunately, Sean is in that position, and he's been down in the mid 100s for a long time. I know it's frustrating him. It's certainly frustrating Don Zimmer, but only Sean can get himself out of this.
0-2 the count. Curveball outside.
At this point, he's had more advice than Ann Landers has given out over the course of her career. So Sean's going to have to take the bull by the horns and battle his way out by himself.
1 ball, 2 strikes. He struck him out. 1 hit, 1 left to go in the bottom of the second. No score. Here's Jeff Reed, originally from Joliet. Strike is in there.
This was one of the better trades by Murray Cook, the general manager. Jeff Reed came over with Herman Winningham and Randy St. Clair for Tracy Jones and Pat Pasillo.
Jeff now makes his home in Elizabethton, Tennessee. 1980, graduated from high school in Joliet. 1-1 the count. 1-2 as he fouls it back. You know, Reed's a guy who started the story about, you know, he was a battery mate of Pena or Perez at Montreal. And he said that he used the grease off his hair to apply to the baseball.
He's not greasing it enough this year, Harry. He's 0-7.
Well, they say that's why Perez is 0-7. He's so up in the air about everybody asking him whether he's loading up the ball or not. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Galecki continues to have trouble. A high pop foul. Grace may have a play near the stands. He does. 1 out.
The object against the Reds is very simple. You lead this team before the 7th inning and you're okay. If they have the lead going into the 7th inning, they're 15-0, and you can credit that to John Franco and Rob Dibble, along with Norm Charlton. They've got quite a bullpen.
1 man out, nobody on. Here's Lenny Harris, the second baseman. Pitch is high. Galecki keeps pitching behind hitters. There's Pete Rose. There's a base hit. Lenny Harris hitting 188, singles to center.
You keep hoping, Harry, if you're on the mound going through what Galecki's going through today, that the rhythm is going to come to you. And he's got a pretty good hitting pitcher up in Rick Mailer. He's hit 185 over the course of his career, so he's not an automatic out.
Mailer, a right-hand hitter as well as a right-hand pitcher. They're expecting a bunt. The only play will be to first base. Grace wanted to throw to second, but it was a running bunt hit. Lenny Harris started with the pitch as if he were going to steal. And Mailer laid the perfect bunt down, and it gives Sabo a chance to drive in the first run of the ball game.
Harris stole 55 bases total last year, and he played at 3 different classifications: Glen Falls, Nashville, and then here in Cincinnati. And the reason he's on this ball club is the fact that he burst on the scene, and in 16 games he had 372 last year for the Reds. So they know he can provide the Reds with a lot of speed and a pretty decent bat.
2 out, a man in scoring position. Breaking ball low and outside for ball 1. Sabo, it's 11 stolen bases. Also Got 11 doubles, hitting .221. There's a strike call on the fastball.
Hitting instructor Tony Perez thinks that Sabo got off to such a poor start after his Rookie of the Year last year that he just began to press, doing things that he shouldn't try to be doing. He's been swinging at a lot of bad pitches.
1 ball, 1 strike. High pop foul, that should be caught. Berryhill under it to retire the side. At the end of 2 innings, no score. He is 0 for 13 as a hitter this year. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball too low. You mentioned Tony Perez, who's a coach for Pete Rose here. A wonderful man, a fine family. There's ball 3, low and away. Some members of his family I know are down in Puerto Rico. And both Tony and his lovely wife send their greetings.
Here you look at his numbers and realize that he averaged right around 95 RBIs per year. He could really do it. And there's
Tony
the
Perez.
dog.
Ball 4. How about that? This could be the inning as Naylor walks, a pitcher who hasn't had a hit all year. The Lecky's on, and that brings up Doug DeCenzo, who lined a single to left but was out trying to steal in the first.
Trying to get a jacket from Mike Bilecki. He's in a situation now where even though he's struggling, he's getting people out. That's the difference between maturity at the major league level and guys that are just feeling their way. If you have bad stuff and you're at the beginning of your career, many times they knock you out of the box early. If you've got confidence, and Bilecki certainly should be confident at this point of the season, he can go out there with less than his best and still make some good pitches in tough situations. That fastball he threw to Sabo was right in on his hands. He popped it straight up in the air. That was a good way to get out of the second inning.
Well, that's what they say. The good pitchers win when they don't have their good stuff. Runner at first, nobody out. A high hopper. Same play to get the force out, and DeCenzo's safe at first. DeCenzo on the first pitch hit a high chopper to Barry Larkin.
We've seen 3 different second basemen in this series. Oster started the first game of the series, had to leave with a leg problem. We saw Manny Trio yesterday and Lenny Harris here today. Oster is still day-to-day, although that hamstring is giving him some problems, and Herman Winningham hurt his hamstring yesterday, so he's not 100%.
Here's Varsho. He flied out his first time. Fastball inside. The Cubs shooting for their 6th in a row.
Mailer's not overpowering. He's a guy that's got to move the ball around and keep it down. He said he throws a big curveball, but he feels that his slider, which he calls more of a slurve, somewhere between a slider and curve, is his best pitch.
High pop fly, easy out. Barry Larkin going out. Varsho pops out to Larkin. Here's Sandberg. He's 5 out of 11 in the series. Two out, a runner at first. DeCenzo was thrown out trying to steal in the first inning. I've been observing him. This time he barely got his foot on the carpet.
You know, here before the game, Don Zimmer was talking about valuable commodities, and everybody knows about Ryan Sandberg and Andre Dawson. He said, but who can be more valuable than a switch-hitting catcher who hits the ball like Damon Berryhill's been hitting the ball?
Yeah.
He said as he gets established in the league, and if he does keep coming up with big hits, this guy's got to be as valuable as anybody, because switch hitting catchers just don't come around often.
There's a strike call. Cleveland out in front of Baltimore 2-0 in the fourth. Detroit leads Kansas City 4-1 in the fifth. Inside, ball one. That evens it up. A ball and a strike. 2 men are out. Top of the third. No score. There's Don Zimmer doing a fantastic job.
Don said as a youngster he used to swim across and then back the Ohio River. Said his mother couldn't stand the fact that he'd do that and give him a regular beating every now and then when she found out he did do it.
There's a high fly ball, will be caught. O'Neill in center field to retire the side. We go in the bottom of third, no score.
This is the moment of truth.
On WGN, Chicago's very own Channel 9.
Here's Griffey to lead it off. He singled his first time up. Left-hand hitter, and a good one. His lifetime average against Cub pitching is .297. He's hit 8 homers against them.
Remember the year when he was battling with Bill Madlock for the National League batting title and lost it on the last day as Madlock went 4 for 4.
There's a high fly ball to Dwight Smith in right field under the ball. Makes the catch.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has a right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
1 man out. Here's Barry Larkin. There's a drive way back. It's going to be caught by DeCenzo. Larkin hit the ball hard. DeCenzo went over in left center and hauled it in. 2 gone. Here's Eric Davis. Dwayne will join Steve after this inning is over. No score. We're in the bottom of the third.
Tony Perez was talking about hitters getting themselves out after they've seen how a pitcher is going to do it. They've got to adjust. Perez says if they got him out one way, he would look for that the next time. And he says many hitters like Eric Davis don't do that.
There's a line shot center field. That ball was hit very hard. And Eric Davis still bothered by that hamstring. He limped down to first base. There's Paul O'Neill, who struck out with the bases loaded in first. We're in the third, no score. Davis has 3 stolen bases. Strike call, a fastball.
He's not getting much of a lead, so he doesn't appear a threat to run at this point. He's not even close to the carpet, trying to protect that hamstring. They'd rather have him in the lineup than looking on from the bench.
Swung and he missed.
Lecky might have found out something about Paul O'Neill. He's keeping the ball up and away from O'Neill, and O'Neill cannot lay off that pitch.
Boy, he's been wearing us out. We've had a little difficulty with our center field camera, but they're working on it. You'll see the game from there in just a few minutes.
There's no reason not to go up and away from O'Neill one more time and see how anxious he really is.
0-2 the count. Tab right back to the mound to Balecki over to first, and that retires the side. Harry Caray from Riverfront Stadium at the end of 3, no score.
on the first pitch with Steve Stone and Artie Harris. This is Dwayne Stantz from Riverfront. We have a perfect day for baseball. Cubs got out of a big jam in the first, and here we are, Steve, scoreless in this one.
Mike Bilecki started out a little shaky, but right now he's throwing the ball very well, and he's making good pitches in and out to the Reds hitters.
2 balls, no strikes, the count. And this one lifted back into center field. That's O'Neill. And he takes care of it for the out. Number 9. So Mark Grace flies to center. And it brings up Damon Berryhill. Damon popped to short his first time up. Lines this one into right. That's going to fall in for a base hit. So Berryhill picks up his 6th hit of the series. He had a 4-hit night here the first night in, and is now 6 out of 11 against the Reds in this 3-game series. So he's at first with 1 gone for Vance Law.
With Zim talking about the most pleasant surprises of the year, Damon Berryhill's name, of course, came up, but also the name of Pat Perry was brought up. And he's very surprised that Perry is shutting everybody down. But Pat, who had a good screwball last year, is also throwing the ball very hard this year.
And he's using a cut fastball, something that Zimmer talked with him about last year.
Not the Don
great
Sutton,
control.
Not the Don Sutton cut fastball, is it?
The pitch is too low, ball 1. No, not that kind.
All a cut fastball does is, in Pat Perry's case, move into the right-hand hitter. A slider will go down and into the right-hand hitter. The cut fastball looks just like a fastball and starts to sail in on the hands of the hitter.
Law lays off the off-speed pitch, and the count is 2-0. You talk about a variety of pitches from a pitcher. We're looking at a guy today, Rick Mahler, who will give you all kinds of stuff.
He's forced into doing it, Wayne, because he doesn't have the big fastball. His fastball right around 84, 85 miles an hour. He'll throw that very slow curve. That's how he got Dunston. And a little slider to go with it.
Law didn't mean to make contact, trying to hold up a foul ball, so the count is 2-1. Vance is 4 out of 9 in this series with 4 runs batted in. So he is showing some life at the plate.
He was pretty happy to see the Reds' turn come around on the schedule, because he's always hit very well against Cincinnati, especially in this ballpark. Their pitching staff has brought him alive.
Berryhill at first with 1 out as we play in the 4th. There's ball 3. 3-1 the count. If the Cubs have a number of hitters who fared well against the Reds through the years.
And if the Reds have any problem at all, it would be in the starting rotation, especially with Tom Browning and Danny Jackson struggling.
There's a foul ball up the right side, and yet coming into the season, that figured to be one of the strong suits of this club, especially with the addition of Mahler. When you look at the kind of season Browning had last year, 18 wins, Danny Jackson a 23-game winner. Rio continues his development. He's throwing the ball extremely well. As a matter of fact, the Cubs feel very fortunate to miss him in this series. They felt adding Mahler to the rotation would solidify it. Berryhill's breaking on the 3-2, and that's a fair ball up the right field line. Off the sidewall behind the bullpen. The throw by Davis down the first base side all the way through to the plate as Berryhill goes to third. It's a double for Vance Law, setting up 2 men in scoring position with only 1 out in the 4th.
The Cubs caught a break here, and that's that Eric Davis does not throw the ball to second base. He's going to be able to get Vance Law at second, I do believe, but he's thinking about Berryhill scoring, the fact that Damon was running on the pitch. He also had to take in consideration Berryhill is a catcher and doesn't run very well, but Vance Law was lucky to get into second base with the throw going home.
So Vance is 2 for 2 tonight, and here's Dwight Smith with a chance to put the Cubs on top here in the 4th inning. Smith flied to left his first time. He takes it wide for a ball. Smith was hitting .325 at Iowa. 0 for 1 today. He came into this one with an average of .273. He fouls this one back.
I'm a little surprised that the infield is back. Perhaps if Mailer does get ahead 2 strikes on Smith, they'll move in. Pete Rose wanting to stay out of the big inning. But he should know that Bilecki hasn't given up too much this year. And 1 run could make a difference.
And Smith offered to bunt the ball, got the bat back. So the pitch is now 2-1.
I don't know if a bunt's a real good situation here with Shawon Dunston coming up next, and he hasn't hit at all, and then you have Bilecki, who doesn't have a hit this year. I think Don Zimmer would like to see Smith swing away and at least get a fly ball and get this run home.
Off speed, and that's a strike. That ball dropped over, says Fred Brocklander. So the count is 2-2. Smith was a little surprised when Brocklander went up with that right arm. This one foul down into the far end of the Cub dugout. Bouncing ball. Cubs won last night. They've taken the first 2 games of the series.
Wouldn't be surprised if Mailer tried to drop that slow curve over the plate one more time.
The 2-2. He gets it. Smith might have been thinking the same thing. And Mailer slipped one by him. That's the second strikeout. Smith caught looking.
Got to make some contact in that situation because they're conceding the run, and now they're going to walk Dunston. Take their chances with Bilecki. That ball caught the outside corner. It looked like the hard breaking ball from Mailer. That was not a very good at bat for Dwight Smith.
Now Dunston will receive the intentional pass to load the bases for Cub pitcher Mike Bilecki. Second walk of the afternoon issued by Mailer. The other one was to Bilecki. This one an intentional pass. So they'll be loaded with 2 outs. Boy, that was a very big at bat in the ball game so far, as Dwight Smith is called out on strikes. Certainly did appear that Smith was looking for something a lot more off speed than what he got. And in that situation, particularly with 2 strikes, it's hard to be looking for anything off speed.
Generally, Dwayne, guess hitters are guys that are long ball hitters who can afford to guess when they're ahead of the pitcher. But when contact gets you a run, you can't guess anything. You have to shorten up on the bat and make sure you make some contact, especially in a 0-0 game.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. Here's Bilecki. And Mailer picks up a strike on the corner. Bilecki is without a hit this year. 0 for 13. He fouls this one and is behind 0-2. The Cubs got a 1-out single from Berry Hill, the double by Law. That strikeout of Smith by Mailer makes the throw through to the plate by Davis look pretty good right now, as it turns out. An intentional walk to Dunston, and 2 strikes the count here to the Cub pitcher Mike Bilecki. One ball, 2 strikes. Cubs head into Houston for 3 starting tomorrow night. Rick Sutcliffe will return to action tomorrow and start that series for the Cubs. Bilecki chases one down and away. He's out on strikes to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits. 3 men left on base. Bottom of the 4th coming. No score. In Cincinnati. Reds and the Cubs. No score. Todd Benzinger is going to open the 4th inning for Cincinnati. Benzinger, Reed, and then Harris against Mike Bilecki. Bilecki in that first inning, when the Reds had the bases loaded with 1 out, got a little help from O'Neill, who chased a pitch high for a strikeout, and then got Benzinger to end the inning. Faces Benzinger to open the 4th now. And the pitch misses for a ball.
I'm sure Mike didn't realize because we have the benefit of the stats, but Benzinger last year hit over 400 with the bases loaded for the Boston Red Sox. So that was a big out.
And the pitch comes in high again. 2-0. Bilecki has been up a little bit more than he would like to be, I think.
That's why I think at this point, Dwayne, he's been fortunate, the fact that he's held the Reds scoreless.
And he falls behind. 3 balls, no strikes here on Benzinger. It has been a season of ups and downs for the Cubs. They've been a streaky club. There's a strike, and it's now 3-1. Don Zimmer says he wasn't going to get too excited when the club lost 5 in a row, and he's not going to get too excited now that the club has won 5 in a row. There's ball 4. Benzinger draws the second walk issued by Bilecki. So the Reds, who've left runners on in every inning, for the first time in this game, have the leadoff man on. And here's Jeff Reed. Reed fouled out his first time up.
Benzinger, not overly fast, is 1-1 in the stolen base department. This is a double play situation for Bilecki if he can get the ground ball.
And he misses upstairs. Ball 1. Berryhill goes out to talk with him. Berryhill is, I'm sure, as concerned as we have been about Bilecki's location.
If you're a sinker baller, and Mike Bilecki's got a good sinker, you don't want to keep that ball above the waist. It flattens out. You get no movement whatsoever. And all those ground balls that a hitter will hit when the ball's at the knee level turn into line drives.
Throw to first. The runner back in. Outside of the sacrifice put down by Mailer, Bilecki's gotten only 1 ground ball out so far in this game. Another move to first. Benzinger back in. That was on the comebacker to the mound by Paul O'Neill. Reed, Bourne, and Joliet. Pitch out, nothing doing. That pitch out was a little closer than Berryhill wanted. And the count is 2-0. Bilecki left his last start after 7 with a little tightening in his tricep, but he says he's 100% now. He threw a couple days following the start. Everything was fine. Runners going. The pitch skied down the left field line, twisting. That will be a foul ball back into the corner. Varsho chased it into the corner, but it was fouled and out of his reach.
Don Zimmer said before the game that he doesn't want to see any pitchers going out there less than 100%. He said he doesn't want them out there unless they tell him that they're in perfect condition to pitch. Now, Rick Sutcliffe threw on the sidelines, and he was convinced Sutcliffe was ready to go. Mike Bilecki, he's convinced is 100% because Dick Cole watched him throw, and he threw great between his starts. But he said he doesn't like excuses. Either go out there, you do the job, or you don't do the job. But don't tell me about anything else.
2-1 to count. Reed back in. There goes the runner, and the pitch is swung on. Fly ball into right. Smith broke in, now goes back and makes the catch as Benzinger moves back into first. Dwight Smith was headed the wrong way for a while there, but managed to make the adjustment and get back there to make the catch on the fly ball by Reed.
We pick it up with him going back to make the play, but he took 2 steps in, and fortunately that ball didn't accelerate and go over his head.
Here's the second baseman, Lenny Harris. Trio played second last night. Oster left the first night of the series with a stiff right hamstring. Benzinger back in, so they have Harris in the lineup today. He can run. Good defensive infielder. Single to center in the second inning. Another move over. Benzinger back in.
He did what a lot of youngsters will do coming to the major leagues for the first time. Hit .372 in 16 games for the Reds last year.
Bilecki backs off the rubber.
Now the question becomes, is he going to be a man who's going to hit in the 300s, or is he going to be the Harris that hit 277 in AAA in over 400 at bats?
The pitch is wide for a ball. Rick Mahler, the pitcher, is on deck. The Cubs have no runs, 5 hits. The Reds have no runs, 4 hits. And Bilecki misses down. He's behind Harris 2-0.
The Reds have a team batting average of 239. If you talk to Lee May and Tony Perez about the reason, they'll tell you patience. They haven't seen a whole lot of patient hitters. They point to Paul O'Neill as a man who will work the count, although you'd never know it by today's performance. Most of the Reds will not let the pitcher get in trouble.
Runners going. The pitch is fouled out of play. There was, I thought, a very interesting column in the Inquirer today, written by columnist Tim Sullivan, about Perez and his approach to hitting. And he ended it with a pretty good quote from Perez. Tony says, you've got to grow up a little bit, relax, and be patient to be a good hitter. Have to make the pitcher come to you. It's not for you to get yourself out. And that's a pretty good synopsis to, I think, any approach to hitting. 2-1. Low snap throw to first. Benzinger back in. The count on the hitter Harris is 3 balls and a strike.
For the most part, Dwayne, most hitters don't have the confidence to take some pitches. You know, they see strike one. It doesn't matter if it's strike one on the outside corner. They just know it's first ball, fastball, strike one. Ball might be on the outside corner. They ground to shortstop if they're a right-hand hitter. Instead of saying, okay, that's your pitch, I've got enough confidence to know that eventually you'll make a mistake, and then it'll be my pitch.
There's a foul ball out of play, and a lot of that just simply has to do with confidence to make contact, to give a strike, and still be confident that you're going to be able to make contact, to foul a pitch off maybe if the pitcher comes back and makes another good one.
Well, you hear Wade Boggs described as a good 2-strike hitter, but you don't hear that description too much around the major leagues, because guys don't want to get down 2 strikes. They're just afraid that a guy's going to drop that slider on the outside corner. They're not going to be able to handle it. Now if he can strike out Harris, he'll be able to throw out Benzinger.
There he goes. The pitch is ball 4. So Harris walks. 2 walks in the inning. 3 in the game. Benzinger into second. Harris at first. Now they give Mahler another opportunity to bunt, and he does that well. With runners at first and second and 1 out, Mahler sacrificed in the 2nd inning. He can handle the bat up there. He takes a look at his third base coach, Dave Bristol.
I would think at this point, with Sabo not hitting the ball, they might decide to let Mahler take a swing or two. He's always hit the ball fairly well, and he has the ability to square around to bunt, and with movement in the infield, draw the bat back and try to poke it through the infield. So if you're going to charge, you have to kind of be back on your heels to make sure that he doesn't bring the bat back and take a swing at it.
2 men on without the benefit of a hit. 2 bases on balls. Here's the stretch. Mahler takes it for a strike. We're talking about 2 very difficult situations here in regard to pitching. Bad location and bases on balls does not bode well. One strike to count. This one runs in. The count is 1-1.
It's just like the restaurant business, Dwayne. That bad location will kill you.
Location, location, location.
You want to throw a high fastball here to Mahler and maybe get him to pop one up.
This one bounced foul as he did take a full cut, chopping at the pitch, and the count is 1-2.
Berryhill's going out more and more, and Don Zimmer says that's one of his greatest allies, because Zim or Dick Pole can only make 1 trip to the mound per inning. And then he's got to depend on Berryhill to go out there and take charge of a situation, and Damon is getting better and better at lighting a fire under his pitching staff.
ball, 2 strikes. Low and away. So the count evens at 2-2. Zimmer doesn't expect Berryhill necessarily to ever be an extroverted individual in terms of being a holler guy out there, but he has been very pleased with the way he has taken charge of his pitcher and made a few trips to the mound. There's the bunt, third base side. Good bunt, off balance throw by Bilecki. A terrible throw into the Cincinnati dugout. 1 run will score. Griffey crosses the plate, but Harris crosses the plate. Let's see if they'll send him back. Benzinger scores to make it a 1-0 ball game. An ill-advised throw by Bilecki, off balance, and the Reds going to run and have 2 men in scoring position with only 1 out as a result.
Mike Bilecki was looking at Vance Law, and he knew that Law was in close to make the play. There's no reason at all for the pitcher to make this effort, because he's got to make an off-balance throw at best. All he's got to do is peel off and let Law make the play. He'd have made it easily, and then he'd have Sabo to get out of the inning. Now watch where Law is. Just let the ball go, Mike, but instead he throws it into the dugout. And 1 mistake in a tight ball game might be enough to bury you.
It's now 1-0. And here's Chris Sabo. The infield is in, and Sabo lines it into left. That's going to fall for a base hit. Harris will score. Mailer stops at third, and it's 2-0. So Sabo drives in his 13th run of the year on the very next pitch with a line single into left.
Fastball's right down the middle, and Sabo takes advantage of it. So that play obviously rattled Mike Bilecki, and with that, the bullpen up and going. It's Steve Wilson throwing in the pen.
Yeah, here's a situation where you don't want to let the game get away from you because of a mistake allowing the first run. The Cubs have to regroup, and Berryhill's out there for 2 purposes. One, to try to get Bilecki back on track and to give the bullpen a little more time. And here comes Dick Pole now out of the Cub dugout. This will give Wilson a few more tosses in the bullpen as well.
Mike Bilecki has been almost superhuman with every effort this year, and you knew he was due to have 1 game where the control wouldn't be quite as sharp. And that day was today. He started out high. He stayed pretty much high. He doesn't have quite the same movement on his fastball that he had the previous starts, but he was doing okay through the first 3. And the 2 walks this inning have really done him in so far. That and the bad judgment on the part of that play where he fired the ball in the dugout.
Well, he walked 2, and they've both scored. The Reds now have Mailer at third with Sabo at first. Still just 1 out in the inning, and Ken Griffey coming up. Griffey 1 for 2, 39-year-old outfielder. Pitch misses, ball 1.
I would think that Sabo would decide to go in this situation, trying to stay out of the double play. Sabo, a very good base runner, and he's fast. Stolen 11 bases, been caught 6 times. Let's see what Pete Rose has in mind.
Ball 2. 2-0. Bilecki facing the Reds in a Cub uniform. He is 0-4 lifetime against the Reds. All of those decisions as a member of the Pirates. He has not been sharp today. Ground ball foul. The count is now 2-1. The Reds threatened in the first, but left the bases loaded, left a man in scoring position in the second, left another man on in the third, and they've scored twice in the 4th inning. Sabo back in at first. Reds have done it in this inning with a couple walks, a couple hits, and an error. The throwing error charged to Bilecki, his first error of the year. Pitch out, snap throw down to first. Sabo back in. So the Cubs were looking for Sabo to maybe make a little move, and he might have had that in mind there and read the pitch out.
I think that's exactly what happened, because he took 2 quick steps and then watched Berryhill shift his weight. Any good base runner, at least as the pitch is on the way, will keep one eye on the catcher. And I think you'll see him going here.
3-1 the count. There he goes. The pitch hit on the ground, through into right field, a base hit. Naylor scores. Sabo goes to third as Griffey drives in the run to make it 3-0. So Bilecki touched here for 3 runs in the 4th inning. Griffey driving in his 8th run of the year. Here it is, a single through the right side.
Ken Griffey can still hit. He came up as a youngster with the Cincinnati Reds, and he could swing the bat from the day he stepped into a major league ballpark. And at 39 years old, that ability to hit the ball hasn't left him.
Here's Barry Larkin. Larkin with a walk and a fly ball to center. He's been a tough man in the 3rd spot in the lineup for the Reds. Checks his swing and fouls this one, strike 1. He came into the game hitting .314, over .340 since they moved him into the 3rd spot out of the leadoff position.
I think he feels that he's matured into the 3rd spot. He's getting a little older and a little stronger with every passing year, and he figures that one day he'll hit between 15 and 20 home runs if he keeps up his weight program between seasons.
He pops it foul down the right side.
An amazing number is the fact that he fanned just 24 times in 588 at-bats last year. This year he's fanned just 9 times in 139 at-bats. So he will make some contact. And in a situation where you'd love a strikeout or a ground ball, he's a tough man to strike out.
5 out of 9 in this series with a walk today. 2 strikes the count. And he got him. He struck him out. Got him on a pitch up. Second strikeout for Bilecki, and right there is a very big strikeout with Eric Davis coming up.
That shows you where you can go when you're 0-2. You can afford to throw the ball out of the strike zone. If you're 2-0, a man just looks at it. Now you're behind 3 balls, but 0-2, he's got to protect the plate. Larkin got a little anxious, swung at a terrible pitch.
Davis 2 for 2. An infield hit in the 1st inning and a line single into center field in the 3rd. He skies this one foul. Strike 1.
Kevin Mitchell has hit his 14th home run of the year today. He leads Darryl Strawberry by 4. Kevin Mitchell is the early story in baseball with the power that he's generated for the San Francisco Giants.
He hit a home run yesterday and again today. Andy Van Slyke has hit his first of the year today. This one inside. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike. The Bulls have defeated Detroit 94-88. So the Bulls defeat the Pistons. They also get the 6th pick in the NBA lottery. The pitch is high and the count is 2-1. Sacramento got the number 1 pick. 2-1 the count here on Eric Davis. 2 outs. The Reds have scored 3 times. And they score another one on a base hit into left. Sabo scores to make it 4-0. Griffey stops at second. 3 consecutive hits for Eric Davis.
And that's going to be it for Mike Bilecki, who quite obviously does not have it today. Eric Davis has hit the ball hard the last 2 times up. Got an infield hit the first time. So for one of the few times this year, the starting pitching has not been effective for Don Zimmer.
Bilecki tagged for 4 runs here in the 4th inning. So he departs. The call goes to the bullpen for the Cub left-hander Steve Wilson. We'll be back following this.
Hello, you've reached Linda's Dog Obedience School. Please leave a message at the top.
2 outs and 4 runs have crossed the plate for the Cincinnati Reds. So Bilecki has his first subpar outing really of the year, gives way to Cub lefty Steve Wilson.
Steve Wilson, a member of that bullpen that's done such a great job for Don Zimmer. Zimmer said unlike last year when he looked down at the bullpen and couldn't find anybody to get somebody out, this year he looks down there and realizes that everybody's getting people out. And Wilson comes in at 2-0 with a 3.38 ERA on for the 10th time. He's only thrown 10 2/3 innings, given up 9 hits. Hasn't been touched for a homer yet. He's walked 4 and struck out 5, and he inherits base runners at first and second, trying to keep the Cubs in the ball game.
This is the shortest stint for Bilecki this year. Prior to this, it was a 6-inning outing against the Mets in New York. He had a no decision in a 4-3 loss to Dwight Gooden. But in every other outing, he pitched at least into the 7th inning. 6 2/3 against the Pirates, 7 against the Padres, then the shutout against San Diego, 7+ against the Giants, and 7 his last time out against the Atlanta Braves. Paul O'Neill, the hitter, and Wilson delivers. Strike one. Wilson pitched a couple innings in the exhibition game in the Crosstown Classic against the White Sox. Don Zimmer wanted to get him some work. He had not been in a game since the 7th of this month on the last road trip to the West Coast against the Dodgers, when he picked up a 4-2 win. He drops down, and a line drive grabbed by Sandberg to retire the side. O'Neill hit the ball sharply, but Sandberg grabbed it, and the Cubs get out of the inning. Not before the Reds score 4, and through 4 the Reds lead 4-0.
At Lucite,
the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
Well, if the Cubs are to win this one, they're going to have to come from behind, down by 4 as we move into the 5th inning. Take a look at Sandberg's play on that screaming line drive hit by O'Neill.
This kept the Cubs in the ball game, because if that gets by, that's 2 runs. And as hard as that ball was hit, it might have gone all the way to the wall.
Here's the top of the order for the Cubs to open the 5th inning. And the pitch is a strike. One strike the count on DeCinzo. There's a roller foul outside the bag at first. 2 strikes. We're having some problems with our camera in center field, so that's why you're not seeing that familiar center field shot that gives you the full perspective of the hitter and the catcher. There we are, working on that camera even as the game continues, and Larkin takes care of the ground ball. Larkin to Benzinger, and DeCinzo's the first out in the 5th inning.
That's what happens when you get sand in the camera from the Beach Boy concert last night. You know, the Beach Boys
going strong.
They're in Atlanta today at Fulton County Stadium, so we're going to miss them finally on one of their trips.
Here's Gary Varsho. The line on Bilecki: 4 runs, 3 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 strikeouts, and 3 walks. And before the Reds scored in the bottom of the 4th inning, Bilecki had put together an amazing string. Varsho takes a strike. He had pitched 30 innings and allowed just 1 earned run in his last 30 innings before the Reds scored in the 4th. The pitch is down, so the count is 1-1.
A lot of Cub fans looking up at the board right now.
Ground ball headed to second. Harris comes up with it. Over to the first baseman, Benzinger. Yeah, they've just flashed the Bulls-Pistons score. The final of Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. 94-88, the Bulls over the Pistons. We've had some amazing stories in Chicago sports this year. The Bears did much better than anyone anticipated at the beginning of the year. Blackhawks made a good run, and the Bulls continue theirs.
How'd they do in that 6-foot and under league?
We both qualified but got cut. Here's Sandberg. Ground ball, base hit into left. Ryne Sandberg collects his 2nd hit. 2-out single to left in the 5th. So it gives Mark Grace an opportunity. You get the feeling that a 4-run deficit is not insurmountable here this afternoon if the Cubs can keep the Reds right there.
The problem is history, and history says that if the Reds lead going into the 7th inning, they're 15-0 because of that quality bullpen. So the Cubs got to score some.
The pitch is a strike. Well, they have a couple innings before we get into the late stages of this one. They have no runs, 6 hits off Mailer. Mailer lifetime against the Cubs, 6 wins and 6 losses. This is way high with this one.
Mailer's thrown 2 shutouts this year, and that matches his career high accomplished with the Atlanta Braves. But he's quick to point out that one of the reasons for his success, as well as the team's, is the fact that his bullpen has been close to unhittable in the late stages of games.
Ball 2 to Grace. 2-1. He has shut out San Diego and St. Louis. He signed as a free agent, coming over from the Atlanta Braves. And a chopper handled by the pitcher Mailer. His throw to first in time, and the Cubs are out in the 5th with 1 hit, 1 left. Bottom of the 5th coming. The score 4-0 Cincinnati. Benzinger again will be the leadoff man, this time facing Cub left-hander Steve Wilson. Benzinger, Reed, and Harris. Wilson misses, ball 1. Wilson got O'Neill on that hot line drive grabbed by Sandberg to end the 4th. This one a foul ball just outside the bag. Bob Engel makes the call. Lee May checking that foul line to see if it's still where he thought it was.
Lee May thought that ball was fair. It did land in fair territory on the first hop, but it had some English on it. He hit it off the end of the bat. Take a look at it, but Bob Engel, right on the line, has the best look at it. And as far as the Cubs are concerned, that was a very good call.
So foul ball. 1-1 to count. The pitch inside. 2-1. Wilson has had only 1 bad outing, and that was up in Montreal when he gave up 4 runs in 2 innings. Count to Benzinger goes to 2-2, and he said in that game he just wasn't focused. His concentration was not very good, but it was a learning experience for him, and he's pitched well every other time out. And he picks up the corner here. Benzinger out on strikes. He doesn't like the call and has a few words for Fred Brocklander. That's the first strikeout for Wilson.
Pretty good fastball on the outside corner. I think he was surprised by the velocity of that pitch. Wilson had thrown him a couple off-speed pitches, and that time let the fastball go.
Jeff Reed 0 for 2. Reed's average has benefited from playing a little more often. The pitch is inside.
The Reds had every intention to make Bo Diaz their everyday catcher, but Reed has forced his way into a platoon system.
The 1-0 is a strike. We go to 1-1. Congratulations to Amy and Marvin Berger for the arrival of a new Cub fan, daughter Natalie. They're happy about that and the Cub road trip so far. Fly ball left. Varsho under it. He's got it. 2 gone. Cubs have won the first 2 games of the series, down 4-0 in the 5th today. And here's Lenny Harris. He's been on twice with a single and a walk and scored a run. Well, Bilecki walked 3 while he was in there, and 2 of those men scored. The pitch is inside. Wilson kind of sneaks up on you from behind that glove as he looks in for the sign. You can watch him. You're not sure if he's picking up the target or not. Fouls this one back. The count is 1-1.
Looks like Ray Bluth bowling. You remember what he did.
You're
He
right.
used to hide the ball right in front of his face. then let it go. Of course, I never saw him. My older friends told me that was his style.
There he is, peeking from over the top of the glove. He drops down, and a pop foul. Berryhill got a late start, but gets there and makes the catch to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. We're through 5. 4-0 Cincinnati.
Friend and her future husband compete for her affections. Don't miss Kathleen Turner and Nicolas Cage and Peggy Sue Got Married this afternoon at 5 on Channel 9.
Damon Berryhill opens the 6th inning, lifting a high fly ball center field, not too deep, and O'Neill is there to make the catch for the out. So Berryhill, the first out in the 6th, he is now 1 for 3, and it brings up Vance Law. On the mound, Rick Mailer. Mike Bilecki started for the Cubs, charged with 4 runs. Steve Wilson now the Cub pitcher. Law today is 2 for 2 with a single and a double. Boy, that play Bilecki made in front of Law really turned that inning around. I should say the play he attempted to make. There's a strike.
If he just lets Law take it, then he's got to worry about Sabo, and it's still a 0-0 game. But by throwing the ball away, it opened the floodgates for 4.
A strike, and now the count is 0-2.
I think you should share with the fans that Reds trivia question. See if anybody can get it at home.
We're talking between half innings. The last Red to hit for the cycle. There have been a lot of great candidates through the years here in Cincinnati to do it.
My guess is Chief Bender.
Who was the last Cincinnati Red to hit for the cycle? Low and outside. You think of all the potential candidates. The first name that I think would naturally pop into your mind would be Joe Morgan when he was here.
Certainly Pete Rose.
Exactly. A shot, base hit into center, and Law is 3 for 3. O'Neill makes the pickup. Law the turn at first, and Vance is aboard with a 1-out single. But if you're thinking of Pete Rose and Joe Morgan, it predates even those 2 players. You have to go back to 1959, over 30 years ago, and Frank Robinson hit for the cycle against the Dodgers on May the 2nd, 1959. Here's Dwight Smith. The pitch is low, ball 1. So it's been some time since the Reds have had a player do that.
You're a veritable cornucopia of trivia today, as Jeff Pico starts loosening up for the Cubs.
There you go, calling me names again. A shot up the alley in right center field. That ball will go all the way to the wall. Law on his way to third. Cottier will wave him home. Smith headed for third, and he will make it head first ahead of the throw. A triple for Dwight Smith. That's his first run batted in and his first extra base hit in the major leagues. And it gets the Cubs on the scoreboard to make it 4-1.
You get the feeling with some good relief the Cubs can come back against Mailer, who is not unhittable. In fact, he's given up a lot of hard hit balls today, but the Cubs haven't been able to put anything together until Dwight Smith shoots the gap in right center field. Vance Law scoring all the way from first, and the Cubs inching their way back into this game.
Now here is Sean Dunston. Sean 0 for 1, a strikeout and an intentional walk. And he bunts right side. Mailer's going to make the pickup. It'll get the run home. Dunston bunts the run home to make it 4-2. That could be a very big run. Dunston driving in his 3rd run of the year, and he put down the bunt to do it.
Great idea by Sean Dunston. He knows he's not hitting the ball, and he knows the best way to get the run home is to make that perfect bunt. Comes close to beating it out. And Sean is inside the baseline in fair territory. We've seen it time and time again. For all you young players, make sure that you're on the foul side of the line going down the line, because if Mailer hits him in the back with the throw, he's going to be out at first.
And you know what? I don't know if the runner does that 90% of the time, but a very high percentage of the time, the runner is inside the baseline, out of the runner's lane. And now Zimmer.
Don is talking to him about the bunt right now, and he probably will mention stay on the other side of the line.
Phil Stevenson will pinch hit for Steve Wilson now. Stevenson a little tender around the rib cage area as a result of the collision he had with DeCinzo in the game with the White Sox the other night. Count a ball, no strikes. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Stevenson didn't notice the injury at the time, but the next morning got up and was very sore. There's a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cubs have scored twice in the 6th, and they've cut the deficit in half. Stevenson strikes out on that slow breaking ball to retire the side. 2 runs, 2 hits, nobody left. Bottom of the 6th coming. The score 4-2 Cincinnati. By 2 runs, 4-2. Jeff Pico is the new Cubs pitcher, and Rick Mailer, the Cincinnati pitcher, is going to lead it off. Let's pause here for station identification. Rick Mailer against Pico, and the first pitch comes in high. Ball 1.
Jeff Pico on with a 2-0 record and a sparkling 1.78 ERA on for the 15th time, and he's picked up 25 innings this year.
A swing and a miss. 7 of those innings came his last time out against the Braves, when he shut them out on 4 hits for 7 innings and picked up a 4-0 victory. He picks up the corner for a strike. There's where the center field shot is. We're still working on it. The center field camera on life support right now. Dunston with the throw to Grace to take care of Mailer.
Looked like John Fierro had gone out there to tape up the camera, but even the tape is not working.
Well, Andre Dawson may be 7 or 8 days ahead of schedule, but the center field camera is not. And here's Chris Sabo. Sabo singled home a run in the 4th inning. He is 1 for 3. He has had a frustrating start here after winning the National League's Rookie of the Year honors last year. The pitch is low, ball 1. He's had some fans get on him a little bit here in the first month and a half of the season. A roller fouled up the first base side, and the count is 1-1.
You're watching Cubs baseball on WGN, Chicago's very own Channel 9.
1 ball, 1 strike.
When Sabo was picked off to start the game yesterday, he had to be restrained from going after a fan by Lee May.
There's a foul ball back. Well, if you're going to be restrained, then May's the guy to do it.
Once he restrains you, that's pretty much it. He is a big, strong man. And he's the coach at first base for the Reds. There's Lee, one of the most well-respected guys around, and certainly a man who could hit in his day.
Sabo, check swing, foul ball. Bottom of the 6th inning. Jeff Pico, the 3rd Cub pitcher. Wilson pitched an inning and a 3rd, picked up a strikeout in relief of Mike Bilecki. And now Pico 1 out into his 1st inning. He goes to 2-2. Domingo Ramos in front of the bat rack in the Cub dugout. Check swing right back to the hill. And Pico takes care of Sabo. 2 outs in the 6th for the veteran Ken Griffey. Talked to Griffey earlier about his son Ken Jr. playing with Seattle. He said when his son got into high school, he got an idea that baseball was going to be his game. He'd gone out for football and got roughed up a little bit and decided there's not much future in doing this. So he concentrated on baseball. And now Ken Griffey Sr. here in the majors with the Reds, and Ken Jr. in Seattle. And another base hit for Ken Griffey. Griffey is 3 out of 4. The 9th hit posted by Cincinnati.
Griffey's another one of those good stories, a man that had been overlooked by every team in baseball, but the fact that he had such a history here in Cincinnati allowed Cincinnati to ask him to come to the ball club, and he's still hitting the ball.
Singles with 2 outs in the 6th, and here's Barry Larkin. The pitch is a strike. Ken said during his son's high school days he didn't get a chance to see him play much because Griffey, Ken Sr., was with the Yankees then. But he's seen him play a couple times already in the major leagues.
And that's a long flight from here to Seattle.
The pitch is low.
You know what's interesting is the system that they have here in Cincinnati for young players. Barry Larkin's a member of that system, and they had an article in the paper today. 30 young men are playing at the minor league level right now that played in the greater Cincinnati area. So they must have quite a high school and summer league program here.
There's a strike. The count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. He has some pretty good ones in the major leagues. Larkin being one of them. Bill Doran in Houston another. There's a guy who came out of here, Don Zimmer, and of course the Cub general manager Jim Fry out of here as well. Pete Rose. There's a foul ball.
Russ Nixon.
That's right.
And I believe Kent TeCulvey might have come out of here at one point.
Ron Oster. There's another one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The count on Larkin. Arnie's got a whole list. Dave Parker. Throw to first. Griffey back in there.
Had that move been a little quicker, he'd have had Griffey. It looked like Ken was starting to break toward second base, and he fooled him. Griffey just able to get back, and right now he's breathing a sigh of relief.
A ball, 2 strikes. The count to Larkin. Man at first, 2 gone. Again a move over there. I asked Ken how his son felt with him sitting in the stands, and he said at first he thought his son admitted to pressing a little bit, and then he told him, he said, look, you don't have to prove anything to me. You're in the major leagues now. He's going, and the pitch line into left, a base hit. Griffey will have to stop at second. Varsho comes back to Dunston with the throw. So with 2 outs, the Reds have put 2 men on to give Eric Davis the opportunity to swing the bat in the 6th inning against Pico. Two men on with 2 men out. And Eric Davis, who was hitless in the series coming into this game, 0 for 8, is 3 for 3 today. So Pico steps back off the mound to collect himself a little bit. He got the first 2 men, but has been touched for singles by Griffey and Larkin. The pitch misses wide. The Cubs head to Houston after this game. Cincinnati will stay here and play the Cardinals. Sends a high drive, deep right center. DeCenzo on the track, over his head, off the wall. 2 more runs will score for Cincinnati, and Davis is 4 for 4 with a double off the wall in right center field. That will give him 3 runs batted in this game, 22 for the year. That's his 3rd double, and again the Reds have a 4-run lead. It's now 6-2.
This is a shot to right center field. DeCenzo going over, but he can't come up with it. It looked like Eric Davis might have strained that hamstring again going to second base. He limped into second. Now he'll leave the game in favor of a pinch runner. But the damage already done as far as the Cubs are concerned. Davis, not exactly a one-man gang, but close to it here today.
And Rolando Rooms will run for him at second base. 4 for 4 for Eric Davis. And 3 runs batted in. Here's Paul O'Neill. O'Neill 0 for 3. Pickoff play at second. Rooms back in. Dunston taking the peg. O'Neill helped to get himself out in the first and the third inning, and then hit the ball on the button in the fourth, only to have Sandberg make a fine catch to end the inning. The pitch is down for a ball. 6-2. 11 hits now for Cincinnati. There's ball 2-0.
11 hits for Cincinnati, and 7 of them combined between Griffey and Davis.
Pico behind in the count. O'Neill looks at a strike. 2-1. Reds on a 9-game homestand. So far, 2-3 on the stand. Cubs will play the Reds next weekend at Wrigley Field. Three balls and a strike to count. Benzinger on deck.
Bullpen starts to stir for the Cubs.
Rooms running at second. And O'Neill lofts a fly ball. DeCenzo backing up in center, makes the catch, and that retires the side. 2 runs scored, 3 hits, a man left. We're through 6. Harry will be back in a moment. Reds 6, Cubs 2.
Stats as we go to the top of the 7th. Here's DeCenzo lifting a high pop fly. It drops in fair territory, in foul territory for a strike. DeCenzo returning to the plate. We have Rooms playing in center field in place of Paul O'Neill, who shifts over from center to right.
Rolando said he was just happy to get an opportunity to come over to Cincinnati and get some playing time. And he is getting some playing time here. They've been very impressed with him so far.
0-1 the count. Now the pitch, here it is. Fastball low. Doug DeCenzo is 1 out of 3. 6-2 Cincinnati. 1-2. It'll be DeCenzo, Varsho, and Sandberg. A little dribbler down to the second baseman. Lenny Harris has it. Over to first to the out. Mailer's shooting for his 6th victory of the year.
He's getting a lot of mileage out of that slow hook today. He doesn't throw it a lot, but when he does, it's usually surprising. That's how he struck out Stevenson in the 6th, and Dunston in the 2nd, and just retired DeCenzo on the slow hook.
Brian and Kathy Schlemmer from Dayton, Ohio, watching the ball game here, originally from Chicago. There's a bouncing ball. The second baseman has it over to first. Varsho is 0 for 4. Here, Sandberg, who's had 2 out of 3 today, comes up, 2 out, nobody on. The Reds leading 6-2.
Mitch Williams now throwing in the bullpen, and it's likely that Don Zimmer would like to get him an inning of work today at least.
Bob Searles, our video Bob, we call him, has a granddaughter, Mandy, celebrating a birthday in Clearwater, Florida. He wants to wish a happy birthday too. There's video Bob. Bob's son, Bobby's here also. Away from Danny's softball team in Clearwater. 1-1. There's a bouncing ball, foul. Sandberg. Boy, they're here from Pawtuskala, Ohio. Aaron Buckles and friends. Pataskala, Ohio. Never heard of that one. Curve is outside. Dave and Rebecca Brandwine. See the Cubs on satellite in Columbus, Ohio. Are here. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Sandberg. Mark Grace would be next. The Cubs scored 2 in the 6th and trailed only 4-2. There goes a drive to right field, deep, way back, and curves foul. Mitch Williams throwing in the bullpen.
Mailer's a sinker baller, and because of that, he's only been touched for 2 home runs this year and now 68 innings.
But the Reds, with first 2 men up, retired in order. Then bunched 3 hits for 2 runs to regain a 4-run lead. There's ball 4 to Sandberg. Oh, he's doing his bit. He's been on base 3 times today. But Grace is 0 for 3. He comes up now with 2 out, a runner on first. We're in the 7th. Ground ball to Bensinger. Steps on the bag for the out. 1 man left. We go in the bottom of the 7th, still 6-2 Reds. 7th. And Mitch Williams comes on to make his first appearance. The Cubs trail 6-2. You know, on Grace's ground ball, it was hit hard. Bensinger made a good play. If that ball goes down the line, Sandberg could have easily scored.
And Williams comes into the game. 0-2, 2.11 ERA, on for the 20th time.
First pitch hit in the air. Varsho has it, 1 away. And so Mitch Williams made 1 pitch, got 1 out at Bensinger. Line to Varsho.
Williams becomes the 4th Cub pitcher. Jeff Pico charged with a couple of runs on 3 hits in the inning he worked. Steve Wilson, an inning and a third, didn't give up anything.
Here's Jeff Reed, 0 for 3. Boy, the more as this game gets later and later, you keep thinking about that play in the 4th inning, on which Bielecki, if he just let the ball be fielded by Vance Law, changes the whole inning around. The game was 0-0 at the time. With 2 on and 1 out. Whoa, Reed is hit by a pitch ball. This is Mitch Williams' first appearance. The Cubs have been ahead and went on to win the first 2 games.
That takes the feeling right out of that right arm.
It also helps Mitch Williams the next time he faces the Reds.
And especially Jeff Reed. That's the 2nd hit batsman of the year for Mitch Williams.
Here now is Lenny Harris. 1 ball, no strikes.
Williams says he gets better with a lot of work, and he hasn't worked a lot lately. So his control might be a little suspect today.
There, they got him picked off first. He's out. Reed was picked off first base from Mitch Williams to Mark Grace.
First time they've looked at Mitch Williams, and if you haven't seen that move, it's a dandy. As soon as Reed got off the bag, see you later, Jeff. That's insult to injury.
2 men out. Whoa! Hit by a pitch ball.
Brocklander got hit with that too, Harry.
Brocklander's hurt worse than the batter.
I think it just nicked Harris, but it misdirected the ball and got Fred Brocklander. And he's not feeling too good right now. That's
2 hit batsmen in a row. That'll add to his effectiveness the next time he faces the Reds.
And the next time he faces Fred Brocklander.
I'm surprised that Mitch doesn't put on some big, thick, horn-rimmed glasses.
You can lend him a pair of yours.
He is just adding to his myth on how wild he is. Here's Rick Mahler. Swung and he missed. I think Mahler would just as soon strike out.
I don't think he'll be digging in. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think Harris will be taking too big a lead at first.
Whoa, wild pitch back to the screen.
Well, the Reds haven't seen a lot of Mitch Williams, unless they might have run into him in spring training a couple of years ago. And there's no doubt about the fact that they will remember this first outing.
Zimmer.
He's looking over at Pete Rose going, how do you like our new reliever, Pete?
He swings and he misses. There's Zimmer now talking to Dick Pohl. He's trying to cover up the big grin he has. There's a high pop foul back out of play. Montreal defeated the Dodgers 3-1. Philadelphia beat San Diego 3-1. The Mets lead the Giants 5-4 in the sixth. And Pittsburgh is winning handily at Houston. Three balls, 2 strikes. He's hit 2. He may walk this one. 3 balls, 2 strikes, a pitch. He did walk him. 2 hit batsmen in a row and a walk. A wild pitch. Fortunately, he picked one man he hit off first. And now that'll bring up Chris Sable. Here's a play that really may have cost the Cubs the ball game. You see where Vance Law was. He was in position to throw. Quick throw. They almost picked him off second base. Lenny Harris. But by luck, he fielded the ball and threw off balance, throwing in the stand. And the Reds went on to get 4 runs in that inning, primarily because of the wild throw. One ball, 1 strike.
Mitch wasn't lying to Zim when he said my control gets a little shaky if I don't work a lot.
Ball 2 outside. But I want to tell you, he's throwing hard. He may be wild, but he's throwing hard. That's what Bob is, the hitter. Ball 3.
And Ken Griffey, who is due up next, probably looked at Pete Rose and said, I'm 39 years old. I'd like my career to last a little longer. Put in Joel Youngblood.
That's what it's going to be. Youngblood is going to bat for Griffey. 3-1, the pitch. He swings, pops it up. Foul territory. Nobody can reach it. Full count, 3-2. Player can be the bravest man in the world, but doesn't keep a little bit of cowardice, as Gabby Street used to say, from appearing in his front foot when the guy's as wild as this guy. Oh, a balk. Now they throw the ball away. A balk. The game's he has to stop anyway. A balk has been called. The runner's advancing. He had the guy picked off first base. He didn't realize that Grace was not holding him on.
Well, it was a great move, except there's supposed to be a sign in this situation. There's no doubt they'd have had him. Now after the balk, he decides to throw the ball anyway. You have to work on a play in that situation where the first baseman breaks in back of the runner. This has been quite an inning.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The bases are loaded for Joe Youngblood. Youngblood batting for Ken Griffey, who had 3 out of 4 while he was in there.
Just as soon as the statute of limitations ran out on his contract with the San Francisco Giants, and they didn't offer him a deal, Cincinnati did. And he decided to come over here. He's always hit Cub pitching very well, hitting .286 this year. 3 for 10 as a pinch hitter.
Bases are loaded. 2 men are out. Youngblood takes the strike. Youngblood hitting .286 for the year. .344 as a pinch hitter. Don't make that 3 out of 10, 300 as a pinch hitter. He fouls the ball back. And now Mitch Williams is ahead of him. 0-2. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Almost threw it away. 0-1.
This is a Mitch Williams inning, Harry. He's hit 2, walked 2, balked, thrown a wild pitch, and nobody has scored yet.
1 ball, 2 strikes. He fouls it back. The Bulls won their game at Detroit. They got away to a tremendous first quarter. 33-17 at the end of the quarter, favored the Bulls. They lost the next 3 quarters, but won the game. Now the pitch. There's a high pop fly. Dwight Smith is there to retire the side. A very eventful inning, but nobody scored. The bases were left loaded. And at the end of 7, Reds lead in their respective dugouts. There's Berryhill leading it off. He's 1 out of 3. He's had a fine series with 6 out of 12. There's a ground ball. Slowly hit. Larkin makes the play. 1 out. Here's Vance Law, 3 out of 3 today. He's raised his average to .229. When this series started, he was hitting .194.
It's been a decent offensive series for the Cubs. Law has 6 hits along with Sandberg and Berryhill.
And McGlendon contributed some big hits. 1 out, nobody on. A high fly ball, easy out. Rooms in center field, and he has it. That brings up Dwight Smith, who tripled to right center to drive in the first Cub run and scored a moment later when Dunston bunted him home. Dunston was credited with a sacrifice and an RBI. Now the pitch a little low. 34,128 paid here today. And over 46,000. There's a ground ball to the second baseman over the first. 1, 2, 3. We go in the bottom of the 8th. 6. We go into the bottom of the 8th. Barry Larkin will lead it off. 1 out of 3 for the day. There's a pitch outside. The Cubs leave for Houston after the game, playing their Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. There's a base hit for Larkin. He's had a great series, too. And that gives him 7 out of 12 in this series. That's the first hit for Mitch Williams. Of course, he's hit 2. Here's Rooms, swings a ground ball, left field, base hit. Orlando Rooms singles to left. And the cleanup spot has produced 5 out of 5 for the Reds. 4 for 4 for Eric Davis, 1 out of 1 over Orlando Rooms. And here's Paul O'Neill. The shadows from the stands have reached home plate. Almost hit him.
He's having some trouble with left-hand hitters today.
Paul O'Neill walked away from the plate. He's still going to have to get up there.
Brett Rockler went out as if he thought O'Neill was going to charge the mound, but it certainly isn't Williams' intention to keep hitting the left-hand hitters.
Runners at first and second. You see O'Neill's front foot?
I don't blame him. Look at Zim. Zim's going, I don't know.
Wow, out of play. Hey, Arnie, keep the camera on his feet. He's bailing out. Tigers beat Kansas City 4-2. That's 3 in a row. Again, he whirls as if to make a play at second. Zimmer had the batting helmet. 2 balls and the strike. Strike call. Boy, Paul O'Neill doesn't want any part of this. Late in the game, the shadows are over home plate, and the pitcher is very wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out. O'Neill is called out on strike. 1 out.
Not a quality at bat on the part of Paul O'Neill. Even Pete Rose is getting a kick out of that. It's a nice front foot, Paul.
There's the pitch outside. The B-League manager of the Cincinnati Reds. He's really had to take a lot. And he's kept his cool very well. Tomorrow, the commissioner will make a decision whether he'll be given more time before the hearing. It would seem only fair. It took 3 months for the report to be given in, handed in. You'd think they'd give the defensive guy more than 2 weeks to prepare his answer. There's a high fly ball, right field. It is a foul ball. The runners were breaking. The hit and run was on, but Benzinger fouled off the pitch.
We forgot completely about Barry Larkin at second base, and he was 2/3 of the way down before the ball was struck by Benzinger, so he's going to have to take a look back to second.
Maybe he's setting him up down there. Benzinger 0 for 3. Is it a fair ball or not? Foul. Larkin returning to second. Rolando Rooms to first. Two in favor of the Reds. Pirates murdering Houston 10-3 in the sixth. Three balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Reed, the catcher's next. Kevin Mitchell hit his 14th homer of the year for the Giants. There go the runners. Ball 4. The bases are loaded. Mitch Williams has walked 3 men, has hit 2 men, has made a wild pitch. And now the bases are loaded again. Here's Jeff Reed. He's 0 for 3. Strike called. The Reds have 13 hits and 6 runs. The Cubs have made 8 hits and 2 runs. Evens it up, a ball and a strike. We're in the bottom of the 8th. He had a rip, but he missed. Evens it up 2-2. The Reds have had 7 men on base against Mitch Williams in the 2 innings he's been pitching, but they haven't scored yet. There's a drive. That'll be caught by DeCenzo, and a run will score. Reed gets a sacrifice fly. And now the Reds lead 7-2.
This doesn't look like much, but against a left-hander with the shadows, and a guy throwing the ball 98 miles an hour, that's a pretty good piece of hitting by Jeff Reed. 11th RBI of the year as Barry Larkin scores.
Runners at first and third. Here's Lenny Harris. He's had 1 out of 2, been on base 3 times. Hit by a pitch ball by Williams last time, walked in the 4th. That was a big walk, too, in the 4th inning against Bielecki because there was 1 out, 1 on, and the pitcher was coming up next. And Lenny Harris is the 8th place hitter to throw. Runner back. Seven to 2 in favor of the Reds. A high fly ball, and Varsho makes the catch to retire the side with 1 run. 2 men left on base. At the end, Deshaun Dunston will lead it off. He fouls off the first pitch. Dunston 0 for 1 today. Drove in a run, his 3rd of the year. There's Franco limbering up in the bullpen. John Franco. 13 out of 13 in save situation. He struck him out. Dunston goes down swinging. Here's Lloyd McClendon.
Lloyd's had quite a series, raising his batting average to .333. His first opportunity to pinch hit this year.
He's 2 out of 6 for the series with 1 homer and 3 RBI. McClendon, of course, used to be with the Reds. We're in the 9th. 7-2. Favor the Reds. And the Cubs' dreams of a sweep have been spoiled. There's the strike call. 3 balls and a strike. Lloyd McClendon. Fouls it back. Lloyd is 30 years old. 1 out. Came out. 2 men in a row. Fanned by Naylor. He's got the advantage now. The home plate area in shade. Here's DeCenso, the leadoff man. He's 1 out of 4. How dark it is around that home plate area. See the shadows from the lights in the stand. Add to the difficulty the batter has seeing the ball. Strike call. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Rick Mailer. Pitch is fouled outside first base.
Rick Mailer was singing the praises of his bullpen before the game today. His only 2 complete games have both been shutouts, but he hasn't needed the bullpen. Except for an instance or 2, he's been in control all the way.
That's what runs do for a pitcher. There's a smash. Bensinger has it. The game is over. And the Reds have beaten the Cubs for the first time this year. The Cubs have won the series 2 out of 3. The 5-game winning streak has been broken. And all the fireworks explode. We'll be back with the totals in a moment. The game happened in the 4th inning with the score 0-0. 2 men were on base. 1 man was out when Naylor bunted the ball. Bilecki fielded it instead of letting Vance Law, who was in position to make the throw. He threw the ball in the stands. 1 run scored before the inning was over. 3 others had scored, and that's the sure play of the game. And it's too bad because there's no telling how this game would have come out, but that's what baseball is, a game of mistakes sometimes.
Little too much Eric Davis today. He was 4 for 4, and Ken Griffey was 3 for 4, so he had quite a day. They got a lot of production out of the top of the order. Mike Bilecki, for the first time this year, didn't have it, and Harry, the 5-game winning streak goes by the boards.
Yeah, you mentioned it early, too, Steve. It was quite obvious that Bilecki, different from the other starts when he's so brilliant, he's pitching always behind the hitter.
He was also throwing the ball up today, and that's not his game. When he's keeping it down, he's getting the ground ball. Today, the fly balls early. You knew it was just a matter of time, and it finally ended in the 4th for him.
All right, C.N. Hughes got beat today. The good news is the Mets are losing big to the Giants, so the Cubs will remain only a half a game out of first place. Here are the totals. For the victorious Cincinnati Reds, 7 runs, 13 hits, no errors. Rick Mailer pitched his 3rd complete game. His record for the year now is 1-6 and lost 4. For the Cubs, 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. Mike Bilecki is the loser. He now is 1-3 and lost 2. With Steve Stone and Dwayne Stats, This is Harry Carey from Cincinnati, repeating the final score, the Reds 7 and the Cubs 2. So long, everybody.
An oil company wants to move in. Burt Lancaster stars in Local Hero. A breathtaking land